Alright, y'all, hello and welcome back to the channel. This is just a quick one last peek at this crazy herb garden situation I have, which is two types of basil, Thai and Genovese basil, that are overflowing, and I'm actually going to be handling them in just a moment. And there's also my dill. You can see it all around. I'm going to be harvesting that in just a second. I'm actually going to start with the dill, and I may end up doing the basil tomorrow because it is evening. We'll see how much space I have left, because I am going to do two types of freezer preservation for the dill, and I also plan to do the same for the basil. So we'll see how long it takes. And just so you can see, hidden in there is some mint that is continuing to grow. So once I clear out the basil, it will probably have more room and it may grow a little quicker. As you can see, RIP to some of the dill here. It is starting to dry out completely. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest the rest because I still have plenty, trust me. I don't think the camera gives the full view of how much I have. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys one last look before I go ahead and start harvesting. I'm just going to go ahead and take out the entire plant. I don't think I'll be able to leave much left, so they'll just be done, and we'll just clear out this arrow garden so it'll be ready to start fresh. Other than the mint, I'm going to leave the mint there because it's still growing, but I'm going to clear out the basil and the dill. And so I will be showing you the process that I go through to preserve all of these things in my freezer. There's so many different ways to preserve herbs. So if you're ever wondering, like, what do I do with all of this stuff other than cook it or give it away, you can preserve it. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that before I lose too much more of my good harvest. I do want to note that I did put the dill in a gravy. I made like for mashed potatoes, like just regular brown gravy. I used some of my dill in there just to give it a little taste, and it was delicious. So definitely want to preserve that dill so I can keep having that herb on hand. And excuse the background noise, my dishwasher is going and we're right out the kitchen. So I'm going to go ahead and get to it so I can harvest my dill, and I'll show you what I do with it from there. Alright, y'all, first I'm going to start with my bushy dill, just showing you what I got and how much of it I have. Also taking a whiff. I love the way it smells. You can also see how much root grew, so it was definitely a strong growing plant. Look at all those roots. All of that was in my arrow garden. It was kind of starting to choke out some of the other plants. So I used that knife that came from a Top Chef set. And those are my ice cube trays. That's all. I'm just showing you all of my prep. The ice cube trays for the dill cubes, and then there's my pan where I'm going to freeze some dill as well. So those are the two methods that I'm using to preserve. I'm doing the cubes, and then I'm also doing just free dill on the freezer tray. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and chop up my dill. Basically just kind of take it off, remove some of the stems and whatnot, and just get as much of the free range dill as I can, and also pluck out some of the dill that had dyed or browned or whatnot. So just kind of sorting through that, chopping it up. I kind of had two sprigs. One was older, and that second bunch was like the newer bunch, which was nice and fresh. So here you're just going to see me chopping it up. That knife cuts wonderfully on the dill. It's very easy to cut. It's not hard at all. You just see me kind of sifting through it, plucking some of it off the stem. It's okay if there's a little stem there. I just wanted to get as much singular dill as possible, because like I said, that's for the dill is going to be preserved on the pan. So that's going to be the dill that I might sprinkle in some gravy, like I have used it for in the past, or on a sauce or whatnot. So that's why I'm doing the two different methods, because I want some dill that I can just kind of add to something to give it that flavor, and then the other dill will be in the cubes with the olive oil, which is kind of a more for if I'm cooking or whatnot, so it just adds flavor that way. So if you see me up there dancing and maybe singing along, I had Adele playing in my earbuds. Don't know if you saw that purple bud in my ear, but those are my Samsung Galaxy Buds, Galaxy 2 Buds in there, or Galaxy Buds 2 Pro. Yes, that's what they are. Samsung promo there. But I was listening to Adele, not the current album, but the one that had like Semi Love and all of that on there. So I was kind of jamming out. And I'm just putting the pieces of Dill in each individual tray. And you'll see me do the next step in just a moment. So now I'm finished putting all the Dill in the tray. So that's all you do is just sprinkle it in. You can choose how much you want. I just want to sprinkle a good amount in there. And now I'm going to take my olive oil and add that on top of the Dill. So you'll see me trying to angle it so that you guys can see, but it's kind of hard because the oil does start to run. But I just wanted to try and give you guys a view of what I was doing. And so that was just pouring the Dill in each individual cube. I don't fill it all the way up. You don't want the cubes to like connect or whatnot. So I just put enough in there to be able to form a full cube. And so that was me trying to show you what it looked like, but you know, the oil runs or whatnot. But that's all I'm doing is just pouring olive oil in each individual cube space. Alright y'all, so now you see what the finished product looks like before I put it into the freezer. So that is the Dill with the olive oil poured onto it. So that's what it will look like, and in just a moment I'm going to cover it and then I'm going to go ahead and pop it in the freezer. The recommended time is overnight, and it should go ahead and freeze, and it'll freeze just like a regular ice cube, and you'll see that a little later in the video. I got those trays from like TJ Maxx, Marshall, somewhere like that, but they come with that nice cover, and they're also BPA free and none of the other stuff that sometimes plastic tends to have. You can definitely use whatever type of ice cube tray you want. Those little square kind of cocktail ones, those work as well. Alright, so next I'm going to take the remaining Dill and chop it up. As you can see, it was quite bushy, and so it was really easy to cut, and I got quite a good bit to do. So what I'm going to end up doing is doing 2 ice cube trays. I originally planned to do one of each, one freezer pan and then one cube tray, but I had so much Dill that you'll see that I end up doing a second ice cube tray. But right now I'm just chopping it all up, and of course I get a lovely pile of Dill. And again, just trying to get as much loose leaf, I guess you could say, Dill away from the stem. Alright, so now what you see is my pan that I'm going to be using. Don't pay any attention to those spots. It's just a worn baking pan. Just a plain old baking pan that I'm going to be sprinkling the Dill across. You're just supposed to just kind of scatter it across. You want to space out a little bit. You don't want to have like clumps or whatnot. So that's what I'm kind of showing you guys, how it is spaced out across the pan. And then you're going to pop it in the freezer when it's all finished, like that. And just freeze it. And now I'm doing round 2 of the ice cubes, because like I said, I had such an overflow. I didn't realize quite how much Dill I had. And now we're here at the results. This is what the pan looks like. I mean, you can't really tell a difference. They have been frozen. And so then I'm going to show you the ice cubes, what they look like, or more like the Dill cubes. Remember, they were placed in olive oil, so that's what that kind of yellow substance is. And then you see the Dill pieces that are preserved within that. So you can definitely pop those in, and you're going to see me take them out in just a moment. But you can definitely drop those in if you're cooking, put them in a pan or in a soup or wherever you want to add it. If just remember that you have that oil. So I just took a whiff of the Dill. First, I'm handling my pan Dill, so that's like the loose leaf Dill that I'm just putting in a freezer bag. I want to say frozen Dill is good for up in that format is good for up to, I believe it's 6 months. So definitely will have good use for that. So that's just a plain Ziploc freezer bag. And you'll see as I'm adding it in, it really doesn't look any different or feel any different frozen, but I want to make sure that I got it out before it got freezer burn or anything. But just so you know, it was definitely in there more than one day. I did check on it after one day, and it was, you know, ready. I could have taken it out. I was just lazy and busy, and so it was in there for a few days before I got to it. But that's why I wanted to make sure I did it before, again, like it got freezer burn. So that's the final product with the Dill. Quite a good bit, because Dill has a pretty good flavoring. It doesn't take a ton to get that flavor, so that will actually last for quite a while. Alright, that's my next bag, and that's where I'm going to put the cubes. So what I'm doing is, and I'll show you a little bit later, is I'm using just a regular butter knife to pop the cubes out. So sometimes I just trace the edges to loosen them up, and then it usually just pops right out in cube form. So that's all I'm showing you, is just what it looks like, the final product, and I'm just showing you that I'm using a butter knife. And so just so you can see what I'm doing, I just kind of trace the edges to loosen it up a little bit, and then I just slide the knife under it, kind of like a spatula, and pop it out. And so I just did that for each cube, and pretty much all the cubes came out intact. So it was pretty simple, pretty quick process in terms of once everything was prepped, just storing it. Now you can leave it in the ice trays if you want, but putting it in the bags help preserve it for a long term. But if you're going to be utilizing it soon, you can leave them in the trays. And that's what the final product looked like from both trays. That was 2 trays worth. As you can see, it already kind of started to melt a little bit. That's why it looks kind of mushy, but they are intact. And I'm just showing you what it looks like after I've removed the ice cubes. Hello, hope you guys enjoyed that last little bit of video for 2022 revolving around the AeroGarden and how I preserve some of my herbs that I grow. I know people sometimes wonder, what do you do with all of those things that you grow? If it's not something that I can eat right away, then I do look for preservation methods. In this video, you saw me using some freezer methods, and there are also several different ways to freeze. You can also make my original plan with some basil is also to make like a sauce, so you can do a paste. There's so many things you can do. But again, this will be my last AeroGarden video for 2022. I just want to hop on and wish everyone a happy holiday, and I will have more houseplants and AeroGarden updates coming for you in 2023. Happy holidays, be safe, and thanks so much for watching.